Good morning. This is Leanne with Markigy. Today I'm joined by Leslie Greenwood, and I'm going to let her give you her background so that we can get into this conversation.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Leanne. This is a long time coming, so I'm glad to spend some time with you today. My background, start with foreground. I am currently the co-founder of Wednesday Women. We are we have both a public and a private mission. Public mission is more visibility for executive women, get them on more stages, podcasts, and panels. And then we have underneath that lies a membership for women that want to go deeper with that mission. I have a long history in both community and also I've always been customer facing. So talking to customers is my jam. And I should have known that when I was a telemarketer in college, when I had to call New York people to sell them call forwarding and credit cards and get people's social security numbers. It was a different world back then.
Yeah, and they would give it to you on the phone back then.
Totally. Fun fact. Yes, totally would.
It was a different world, but one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have you on today is because you are just so great at like just this connection, bridging the gap. Uh, and I don't want to steal your soapbox from you. So I want to hear from you instead of from me. What is the thing that the board needs to know, or like the CMOs, VPs, directors, what is the thing that they're missing out on? And if they don't do it, they're wrong. What is the hill you're willing to die on?
That, well, two things actually. I came up with another one since we talked earlier. One is that brand reputation, customer referrals, testimony, not even testimonials. Word of mouth marketing is the most underutilized channel, in my opinion, coming from a non-marketer. Deals close faster. I mean, there's so many stats about why that is good. Another thing is like, listen to your customers. It's amazing what happens when you actually listen to the people you serve. I mean, we're seeing this now with Wednesday Women. We weren't even a business. And the only reason we even have a community today, or if we have a business, is because someone wanted to sponsor us. And we have a community because 100 people asked for it. We said, I think we should listen. And that is the only reason Melissa and I are full time on the business. So those are the two things that I am willing to die on a hill for when it comes to like marketing and growing a business and go to market.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that is so important because these things come back to those human relationships that are really at the foundation of why I even have this podcast, is to talk about human-led marketing.
Yep.
And so when I hear things like that, I'm really curious. You and I both have our own like background and stories, but what are some like ways that we can pull out like the nuance of what you're trying to say? What are some stories?
Mm-hmm. I've called them when I was doing my community consulting. So after I left my last full-time role and I went into community consulting, I called it Chief Evangelist Consulting. My mom wanted to know if I got religious all of a sudden. And I said, no. But evangelist is someone who's willing to talk about you and talk about you without pay, without expectation. And so that was what I centered my whole business around. So whether that was, you're providing, if you think about it from a startup founder, like your most important asset once you've have customers are those customers and getting them to talk about you favorably to their friends. And then like in community, so what we're building, we almost do no marketing. There are so many people that have no idea that we have a membership. They're like, you have a membership? Like they'll come to our dinner and they're like, you have a membership? Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, we don't market it. It is all referral, word of mouth. And a lot of that has to do with, listening to your customers, your brand reputation. I mean, we don't have the sponsors we have because our business is huge. We're not the big guy on the block, but we have a reputation, Melissa and I mean, as you know Melissa, that people know that if they do business with us, actually, I need to pull this testimonial from yesterday's call, that we would deliver 150%. I say 110%, but she actually said 150%. Like if you do business with us, we will deliver 110%. And we fall into this know, like, and trust category. And many businesses are this nameless, faceless entity without even a founder brand behind it, which is weird in the world we live in. Um, which the founder brand can actually hurt you too, a lot. But people, there's this want for connection that people want, even with a product or with their salesperson or with their customer success person or the community that they belong to. And it is not just like, you're not a coin operated slot machine anymore. And people can't count on that to be the way that they make money, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I think you're completely right. When I think about the reputation that both of you have as individuals, I agree completely with the testimonial that you got, is that I look to how I've seen both of you operate in just your regular, like, standard operating procedures. Like, if there's an ask, how is it, communicated, or, what assets are provided in campaigns and different things like that. And I think that that level of not just professionalism, but care and consideration
Mm-hmm.
is what helps establish that, like, know and trust for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's that authenticity that we talk so frequently about. Is it's not that you're a nameless, faceless brand. It's that you are human beings that know how you operate best, and then um, undersell and over deliver.
Yeah. And we do actually care.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big part of it. And I could go back. Can I go back on my soapbox for one
Yes,
second
please.
about how everyone has bastardized the word authenticity? Like, I want to say that I'm a very authentic person, and many times that is both my strength and my weakness. It's my strength when building relationships, and it is my weakness in business because I don't know when to keep my mouth shut. If something does not feel right to me, or I don't agree with something, or it goes against my value system, I don't know how to play those games. I don't know how to play the politics. But just so many people like, oh, this is so authentic. I'm like, AI generated all that crap. What are you talking about? And I'm just like, it's not. I don't know. It's unfortunate that that word has been bastardized the way it has been. But I'm going to claim authentic, and because there's the good and the bad that goes with it.
Yeah, and I think that it's that when you're for everyone, you're for no one.
So true.
And I think that that is where I see, the differentiator between real authenticity and fake authenticity is
That's a really good point.
um but that's authenticity is a whole separate episode today. We're talking about um this concept of, creating those relationships, and it's certainly a huge part of it. But, I think that I want to hear more from you about your soapbox. I want to hear more, like, stories or, like, anecdotes. What comes to mind when you think of a time that, really showed this, or a time that you were like, this was not it, and that's why I think like this now.
Mm-hmm. I think that so I have a couple of examples. So there's certain things we do, and when I would talk about evangelist led growth, which whatever, I'm done with that part, but the evangelism part, and part of it is social listening, and it's just like, how many times is your brand you know tagged or named or people talked about? But we do social listening too, and social listening is that one of our members had a baby. I just sent out 3 baby onesies the other day, and one got a new job, and unfortunately someone's relative died, and we found that out. And so I'm gonna be like, where I gotta go find what can I deliver, which is something beyond expectation. Is that care and that compassion, and it's also care and compassion for them beyond them as a paying customer. It's them as a human. So that's one thing, is like, you're listening to the customers, and then sometimes it's not just about your feedback, it's about their lives, and that you're connecting with them beyond just, beyond the dollar. So that's one example. I don't know. I can't think. My brain is on menopause today. I can't think of another example of
No,
that.
those are great. Those are great, because that's like what comes to mind when I hear that is like that's how you build an actual relationship, instead of this, like, very you have to have some level of vulnerability and willing to like cross that that line in the sand that is the manicured office politic
Mhm.
persona.
Yeah.
And when we talk about lifting up women and like, or just people, because I'm
Mhm.
not gonna like not lift up men. I'm just saying that women we
Mhm.
need to hold especially because of everything. Um but we need to look at people as people, and there's companies I see that kind of also bridge that line of like, when are we remembering that like business outcomes have personal implications?
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
and life is messy. There's nobody that is going to never experience someone losing someone close to them. There's
Mhm.
just not.
Yeah.
That's a universal experience. And, you know, having that kindness and consideration for when someone else goes through one of the big moments in life, I
Mhm.
think is what, is very impactful in um just being a good part of a community
Mhm.
at large,
Mhm.
but especially one that's intentionally made to help lift people up.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and I was actually just thinking of another example of this is like, I had a dog for I don't know how many years, 14 years. So on my desk here, so I called because I order all of his medicines and dog food through Chewy. So I called and said I need to cancel my subscriptions because my dog Sunny passed. And so like they sent me this little hand painted rock. They refunded all of my money and just said donate it, which I did. But like that's how you can be human. I don't know who sent me this rock. I don't know the name of the person. But it doesn't matter because I've attached all of that to the brand whose policies and the way they think about how they care for their customers, especially being an online only business. They don't have brick and mortar stores of how they've decided to take care of their customers. And I mean, this sits on my desk. I just mentioned their name. You like free advertising. And I will probably always do business with them because of that one small thing that they did that was beyond the human, although neither of the humans actually know each other, rather than in these community settings that I'm talking about, where we might, know them. But I feel that feels authentic to their brand.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that Chewy, I've heard them speak at conferences about how they
Mhm.
do this intentionally. And I really admire that because one of the things that I learned early on in business school was like this triple bottom line, and that you really want to focus for the long-term wins that we all say we want. You
Mhm.
have to do the things that build long-term wins, which is the real relationships, which is, not just the dollar bottom line, but the like rest of the impact that you can have in creating personal and economic value as an organization.
Mhm.
Um, I said that very eloquently. It'll never happen again.
Well,
Uh,
you have it now on recording, so you can
yeah.
use it again. I mean, and some of those, that's what I remember someone telling me at the previous community that I worked at. They're like, that's not scalable. And I'm like, anything is scalable if you can write a process around it. Yes, it
Mhm.
is hand by hand. It's one by one. It is REA now writing a personal thank you note, to these people, or it was us at the very beginning writing a thank you note to every person that it came to dinner. I can write a process around it. It means it's scalable. And
Yeah.
so, like, is their little rock thing scalable? No, but does it pay long-term returns? Yeah, they other else because they're a corporation. They would not do it if it did
Mhm.
not.
Yeah. And I think it's, one of those things where it's how you create someone to evangelize,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You can't be blah, boring, plain, you can't um abstain from creating connection and expect people to be like so excited about you. You're not excited about them.
No. Not unless they have a product that is so differentiated. If you think about like Notion when they first came out, that people love the product. And I didn't need to know the human because the product itself spoke to itself. We're still waiting for that next, maybe Notion or Salesforce when it first came out, et cetera. Like it'll be a while before we see that next thing that's going to be everybody's going to love. And so the product will not always speak to itself, not in today's market.
No, I agree completely. I think that, when we look at the different go-to-market like channels or strategies, when we look at, product led, that that is getting kind of swampy. Um, I I think that there. there's ways to do it right, and the product should be well done. There should be well done products, but trying to have that as the end all be all, um, is just there's just so much noise.
Mhm. Yeah, it's just, there's just so much. We were just at an AI. I was just at an AI conference, and the number of booths at this conference, and I'm like, I'm like, don't you do the same thing as they do? Like, what are the different? I mean, I couldn't discern the different micro differences between all the products. And if we're looking at in a world where we're this sophisticated, you have to stand out. And that could be founder brand, that could be, people evangelizing for you. I'm going to give you a second look. If you told me your favorite product was X and I was looking for X, your favorite product is going to get a shot
Mhm.
because I already know, like, and trust you. I will take your recommendation. But that doesn't mean it's going to get the business, but it'll get an at bat. But that's what people realize, that's how they get the at bats, or people need to realize, I guess, more. That's how they need to get the at bats.
Yeah, because I mean, and especially when we think about like the human as a whole and the psychology of like how people do stuff, which is one of your very strong suits. Um, you know, if I'm willing to say I love product X, Y, and Z, but I had no love for this other product,
Mhm.
that gives me more credibility
Yeah.
because I didn't stand for everybody. I wasn't like, yeah, they're great. No, that's not going to come out of my mouth. But it goes back to your word of mouth, your like how people like, know, and trust things, and in the community building and the evangelizing and like all of it. I think that you're so right on this.
No. Well, thank you. Can you come and talk to me every day and tell me I'm right? Like, how do we set that up? I told someone in my LinkedIn feed, she's like, "This is so badass." I'm like, "Will you come by my feed every day and call me a badass? Like,
Yeah.
can we sign up for that?" Uh, but yeah, I mean, it's just the psychology of humans, and I think the more AI we get, and I say this often, the more AI that the world gets, the more valuable communities done right get. It's also the more valuable people with skill sets like mine who know how to create rapport, who love pulling the threads. Like, if you and I talk for like a couple minutes after this and you told me some of your needs, I'm like, ooh, there's a tiny thread there that you said that I can pull a tiny thread over here from this person, and you two are going to make a great match. And whether that's just a personal match, whether that's a product match or whatever, it's like the more AI happens, the more valuable, I mean, honestly, that my skill set gets, because it can't do what I do and what people that really focus on the people aspect of it do. And we were joking before this, but just to put out there, people, I am not a marketer. I have never taken a marketing course. I don't know any. I mean, I can't say I don't know anything about marketing. I try to tell my team that all the time. I'm like, oh, here's an idea, but I'm not a marketer. And they're like, yes, but you understand people. Like, if you can understand people and what drives behavior and what they think about and what motivates them, then you do have some marketing chops, a little. I mean, Melissa will probably beat me over the head after this because she's the marketer for sure.
Well, but you guys feed off each other. And I think that's one reason why you do so well, is because you have this exceptional pattern matching, and she and you are able to collaborate and wrap it up in a nice bow and ship it. And getting it from concept to execution and then execution extra is truly um no small feat, but also it comes back to the founder led reputation. Like, this is why each of you individually has the support and community backing that you do, is because you guys are really good at this. Once again, I'll show up every day. I do not pay compliments when they are not due. I think is one thing that
I don't do that either. Yeah. Like,
like,
yeah, no, but that you're right. We do make a good match because she's definitely more operational than I am. She actually has real marketing chops that I don't. And she has people skills. I just have a different set of people skills, and we're both executors. That is the one thing I remember from the first time we met, because we actually didn't know each other when we first kind of accidentally started this business. What I did know was that we got on one call and she's like, well, what if we did one thing? We'll make one carousel, we'll make one post a week. It'll be on Wednesday. Why don't we call it Wednesday Women? Of course, you all marketers, she bought the domain like within 2 seconds because why not? Have 100 domains for fun. I don't understand that. And then that's how you know I'm not a marketer because I do not
So,
own lots of domains. Um, but she was like, we went into execution. It's like we went from ideation to execution super fast and but good, not
mhm.
the execution. And so that's where we do complement each other because there's not either of us that are like hemming and hawing and really overthinking and like we must get every detail right. It's like, you know what, let's get most of them right. And if we mess up a little bit of something, hopefully we've earned enough reputation to earn some grace. Because of course we all make mistakes. And and that's the thing, same thing. If you go back to that brand, know, like, and trust, you can mess something up. You can deploy shitty code, but if you haven't earned any grace from your customers, you are going to hear it. If you've earned a little grace from your customers, they're going to be like, yeah, it happens.
Yeah, it's about how you communicate too. I mean,
Mhm.
when I think about community and I think about, when you're talking about the difference between deploying something shitty, and I think that that's really one of those things where, yeah, quote unquote, anybody could do community, but a lot
Oh,
of people,
mm,
no, they can't.
don't get me started.
No, they can't. There's plenty of dead Slack channels that I'm a part of that I'm just like, well, that was cool for a hot second. And, or I joined and looked around and I was like, no thanks. And so community isn't the platform it's on, it's the connections between people
Mhm,
and the like, know, and trust that, if we look at, we're going to call it a solar system. If we're
mhm,
going to put the brand as the sun, it's the constellations around that can then orbit it, but be drawn in and held in that looser orbit
mhm,
because it's done well at the center.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I call that the sticky glue. So, part of when I worked directly with communities looking to build or rebuild, we're looking for that sticky glue. We're looking for, who is your ICP? What are the personas in your ICP? What are you going to do that other communities don't do? What problems are you going to solve that your customers need you to solve? It's very much like a community assessment. Sounds like a full startup consulting session. And so it's like, and what we're looking for is the sticky glue. What will hold these people together? And so, like, just like you said, it's the sun that pulls everybody in. And most likely, I would say 100% of the time with my work, the sticky glue is not the product that the community is built around. It's the overarching problem that lays over the heads of the people who use the product.
Yep, 1,000%. It's the product is just a tool. It exists to answer the problem. If there is no problem that it's solving, then what's the value proposition? What's it for?
True.
Um, so I think that being able to laser in on the actual value proposition instead of the investor deck value proposition
Mhm.
is huge. Um, and I think that that's also one place where being able to verbalize it in a way that is appealing to customers,
Mhm.
to mobilize them to action, like attendance, like engagement, like
Mhm.
all of these things, is a completely different ballgame.
Yep. Yep. Well, and to go back to a little bit of what we talked about, listening to the customer, all of my assessments included, I mean, it was a tour around the C suite or whoever was in charge, and it was customer interviews. Because I will guarantee you that we're only maybe 50% correct on what the problem that the company thought they were solving with the community compared to what the community wanted to be solved. So totally different things. And so that listening tour was very important in helping shape what the offerings were and actually using the customers' words themselves. Shockingly enough, I'm sure this is all normal marketing stuff. You all do this all the time. To me, I'm like, oh, we just use the words they use.
It's rocket science. But like, I mean, part of it is that, one, I want to remind people who are listening that they are right and to take that, not echo chamber, but just validation in reminding themselves that they wanted to do this thing, they are fighting for resources to go do it, or they have to find a way to crowbar it in with all of the other things they have to do in a day. But like it needs to be one of the hills I will die on is the listening tour of customers and the customer interviews. I don't care if you're product marketing. I don't care if you're partnership. I do not care what seat you hold.
Mhm.
You need to have access to like customer conversations,
Yep.
whether you're involved in it or someone that is customer facing is like a Gong call or, Fathom Notes or, I can name like 15 platforms
Mhm.
just to keep it
Mhm.
fair.
Yeah.
But you need to hear from them what they're saying, but also what they're not saying. And so that's where you need that rich context of a video call or an
That's what I was
in-person
just gonna
event.
say. You need to see them because you
Mhm.
can say one thing, but my face or my posture or my eye, whether I'm keeping eye contact with you, is going to tell you potentially a different story. So, I mean, that is like if I would send my customers out to do their own customer interviews, I'm like, these are the things that you're going to listen for and you're going to have your note taker, but then you're going to watch. When does their body language change? When do they light up? When do they smile? When do their eyes, you're asking them a question and their eyes are doing this? Like these are the things that are super important. This is, again, I've had never done a marketing call, but this is just human stuff. Like for me, like this is just human stuff that I'm thinking about and looking at when I'm talking to people to figure out what they are saying, what they're meaning, and what they're feeling, because then I can wrap that all up into like a better package.
Absolutely. I think one of my favorite things to do is to practice pitches in person.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so whenever I go to like a conference and I have like something that I want to offer,
Mm-hmm.
I will introduce myself as, "Hey, I'm Leanne, and this is what I do." And I like give like, my little elevator
Mm-hmm.
sentence
Mm-hmm.
or two, and I see how they respond.
Yeah.
And knowing what function they serve, what organization they're in, what they do, what their background is, and what's happening in the room itself at the moment.
Oh yeah, you're reading everything.
Oh, yeah, it really tells me what lands and what gets people excited, and who are people that are just amazing, sparkly sunshine rays that are gonna be excited about everything,
That's true.
and
That is a thing.
which I love those people.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. But kind of like that discernment of did this stick? Did this land? What happens if I say it just a little bit different next time? What
Mm-hmm.
happens if I say something completely different to a different group of people? And how does that, at that dinner, lunch, whatever snack table, how does that go? Where does the conversation lead? Um, and so it's really an interesting human experiment
Mm-hmm.
to get that rich experience of how people will say something, how they actually mean something,
Mm-hmm.
and the context of the entire environment.
Yep. You and I need to go to a conference together. You know how much fun we would have dissecting this whole experience? I'm like, you and I think the same. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, you and I, we just walk around and talk to people and be like, oh, I wonder what's going on in their home life.
My favorite thing to joke is I sent it out to my friends earlier today is I screenshot like I use Time Hop and there was a post that I posted 9 years ago and I was like, guys, you let me say this out loud. Like and we had a good giggle over it. But no, you and I would have a blast because the other thing that we have in common is this: what is this thing that this one person said? How do I connect the dot from this other thing and then pair it together?
Mhm.
And that's really what we're trying to do when we're doing the customer listening and we're trying to build the evangelist and the word of mouth is we heard this thing of this word cloud,
Mhm.
maybe
Mhm.
like mental word cloud.
Sure.
And here's this other thing where it is connected and we can build real value for both sides
Mhm.
of those two separate conversations, whether it's the value prop from the product and the actual problem it's solving, and this person being like, oh my God, I just got this promotion and I don't know how I'm going to handle taking on this new platform. Maybe I'll look for a different platform. Oh, hey, you're telling me that the legacy platform drives you nuts because of blah, blah, blah. I just met someone that is blah, blah, blah at this org. Let me just connect you guys and you guys just have a conversation.
100%. Actually did that. I took one of our sponsors to another person I was talking to about a sponsorship. I'm like, I think actually what you're asking for, they solve. So I'm just going to make the introduction and then you all see if that I was right. Because it was too technical for me. One quick note, and I've said, I don't know how many times I've said this. So if I ever were to start a product company, like where you had to give like tier one support and everything, everyone should spend at least a week in tier one support, just answering the phones. What are the customers saying? What are they calling about every day? All that kind of stuff. I mean, yes, you can get metrics and data from all these AI platforms, but honestly, I want every salesperson taking tier one calls because then when they're selling, they know what the trigger things are, they know where not to overpromise, and they actually understand the customer because they've talked to more than their prospects. Sorry,
Mhm.
I'm not now. I was just like, yes, listening tours,
Yes.
salespeople.
Listening tours of uh, there is no short list of value that you get from listening in on different conversations. The customer success ones,
Hmm.
the like initial calls, the Reddit type word vomit ones where they're just like,
The one where you end up in the subreddit.
yeah, you're just like, oh, okay, we need to reposition that. But like, if you aren't doing win loss calls and you don't know why you're losing, you're gonna keep losing.
Hmm.
It's just, and also I think that it helps humanize the experience of other departments because sometimes there gets to be that whole, I don't know what they do all day. They work
Oh,
hard.
customer success. No, they don't do anything. They're just trying to make all their customers churn, not that they're paid on retention or anything.
Yeah, who
Says any
knows?
person who has a clawback.
Oh man,
Okay, I
yeah.
feel like we have meandered into some dangerous territory now here at Leanne.
We're gonna pedal backwards a little bit. I mean, we already brought up Reddit and now clawbacks. Okay. So I think it's pretty clear to at least you and I and hopefully the listener that, if we were gonna look for like disclaimers of like when this works and when this doesn't work, is that word of mouth will always work when it's done enthusiastically and authentically, and it won't exist if there isn't a real relationship built.
I believe that is correct. And I'd say that thing I'd add is as an early stage founder, those first customers, if you treating them like gold has such a multiplier effect. Because I remember talking to a founder that said, I just don't, this was during the height of the money raising, free money season. And all he could focus on was getting money in the door. And I'm like, you are missing out on so much by the fact that we're not focusing on these first customers. So I'd say especially important in an unknown brand where word of mouth is going to be your differentiator because you have no brand recognition. And especially at the earliest stages, but very important in all stages.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that even if you're like a big Fortune 100 and you have all the money to spend on brand, that people will distrust it if they don't have a good experience with you. And like it doesn't matter if you have a Super Bowl ad, if your entire like way that you show up for the customer sucks, like good job. Like you just blew like 5 million bucks.
Yep. And you're inconsistent. Like
Mhm.
if you're inconsistent, like you put out some fluffy ad, but I mean, we're all smart. We've got access to all kinds of AI. I can find out all kinds of things about a company, and what you're saying in public and what's happening in private don't match. We are paying attention.
Mhm.
And so that's where that authenticity, like, if you think about authenticity, even through a huge corporation, um, it makes a difference. Like
Yeah.
we can chat GPT that stuff.
I mean, it's in our faces. Like it's almost impossible to not see it.
Oh yeah, because it's in the headlines too. Yeah.
Yeah. So so when we think about, the future of like where everything's going, it does sound like AI is going to be a lot of it, but that the human connection is going to always be like more prevalent, which is, how we started the episode.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, what do you kind of see on the radar in the like near future or far future?
mhm. I think what's old is new. I think we go back. I think the people that stand out and going thinking about the way maybe our grandparents or my grandparents did things is like, you get a handwritten thank you note. You are genuinely appreciative. You go above and beyond. You share that care. You put in the extra effort. I think those things, like my example I use is like you walk to the mailbox, your neighbor's at the mailbox, and they tell you that they just went to the new restaurant, Joe's Diner in town. And you're like, oh, I'm definitely going to Joe's Diner. That is how the world is also going to work in the middle of our AI explosion. Um, and so maybe it's just everybody has to work on both ends of the spectrum.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean, I think that there's ways to scale the unscalable.
Oh, 100%. And
You know,
sometimes
I
it doesn't need to be scaled. I mean, I just have a real, like, very, that's like a trigger topic for me. There are just some things that just don't need to be scaled.
Yeah, true. Absolutely. All right. The last question is, what is a question someone should ask you, but they don't?
Oh, um, can I reframe the question? Because I
Absolutely.
have an answer. What is the question people ask me as their first question that they shouldn't?
Mhm.
What community platform should I use? I'm like, I don't know. Who are your clients? Where do they live? What pain are you solving? What are the products you're going to offer? Like that is always the first question. People are like, "Oh, what's the platform I should use? What platform do you recommend?" I'm like, "Doesn't matter until you figure out all the rest." So like
Mhm.
work for the next couple weeks and then come back to me. But yeah, no, that's always what they ask me. Anytime I say I'm a community expert, they just always ask, "Oh, what platform?" I'm like, can't answer that. Don't know your goals. Don't know
Yeah.
your ICP.
You could build the holy grail of a marketing campaign or a platform or a community platform, and it can be like just so perfect. But if it's not where your customers are or want to go, it doesn't matter.
Which is why there are so many communities on Slack. But I have an answer for that. I'm not going to talk. I can't, not doing any selling or promotion, but I have a favorite platform that solves that problem, and I love the VP of sales. It's a woman founded company, and it's my number one referral partner because it solves an innate a pain. I'm treated well. It's woman founded, and it's a quality product.
Mhm. I mean, it sounds like it's a 10 out of 10, honestly.
It's not for
Uh,
everybody though. It's not for everybody. If you don't have certain needs, then it's not right for you. But yeah, but I mean that whole like taking people off where they live. It's like, I mean, we're dealing with that now because we are not on Slack as a community as Wednesday Women. So we are one more place to go. It just means we have to work harder to be more valuable to overcome the inertia for them to go to us, to come to us.
I think though, like if I had to give my editorial on this, which is totally unsolicited, but it's a podcast, so that's what we do.
It's your
Uh,
podcast.
it's fine.
Absolutely.
I can say whatever I want. But when I think about this and the overcoming inertia is that it attaches this intentionality that like makes it a higher quality engagement because it isn't just a doom scroll and like dopamine reflex. It
Mhm.
is a hey, I clocked this on my radar as a behavior I want to engage in instead of a behavior I'm just knee jerk engaging in because I'm checking these other things. I don't want to start this project quite yet. I'm burning 2 minutes. I will give like a half hearted answer. I'll blah, 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 blah. And so that is the value that I think that there is when you do go into these kind of like other spaces is that and maybe I'm just hyping it up for no reason, but I do know that my behavior in the past when I've gone to a network platform that wasn't in my like sidebar of apps is that I was there. I spent more time there and I was more concentrated while I
Mhm,
was there to do the activity in the platform and
mhm,
in that community and listen to whatever educational materials they had, or talk to these three people and then follow up with them or connect with them one to one later. So I don't think that it's wrong to do it either way. Some are meant for very quick or very reflex like things.
mhm.
um, I think it just changes the nature of the engagement.
Mhm. No, I don't disagree with you, but obviously you can tell from what your description is that you found immense value.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would have done what you just said, is like you go in, you look around, you're like, "Peace out, people. I'll
Yeah.
see you back. I'll see you later." Like, "You're more work for me and you're not worth it?" No.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, so yeah, that there's that, and then there's good marketing, and there's good customer marketing to continually share the value of the product to your customers so that they will continue to log in. When in that case, we are just like any other platform product.
Yeah. Um, my personal experience with the platform that I was just thinking of was that, and then I did a networking call with the two of the founders on it, and one of them was so patronizing that I was just like, "Nope, no more, bye." Like, I quit. So, like,
I'm not even gonna guess. I
it
know.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Is it
I know when
neither
we
here.
stop recording, I'm gonna ask you if I'm right.
The point being is that the consistency of the experience is
Mhm,
just like what you just said, is that people will know about. They're like, I have to do X, Y, and Z and I don't see the value. No, thank you.
mhm.
And you just don't get as much grace as if it was a knee-jerk thing and there was like a one-off. I was like, yeah, but there's like 1,000 other people here. Maybe those other 1,000 people are worth my time. It all depends.
Yep, yep. It all depends. That's just why you don't ask me which platform to go to first.
Exactly. It all depends.
Isn't that all marketing? It all just depends.
It depends. I have it on one of those like letter boards in my living room. Uh, it says it depends, swear to God.
That
Um,
is funny.
so um if someone wants to continue the conversation with you, where should they find you? How should they reach out?
I am too much time getting my dopamine hits on LinkedIn. So send me a DM, connect with me, and send me a DM on LinkedIn. Or if you're in one of the communities that I'm in, send me a DM in that community.
Perfect. The best way to get a hold of me is info@markigy, markigy.com. But I too am chronically online on LinkedIn. So you can find me lots of places. Leslie, thank you so much for joining me today.
You you're most welcome. It was a pleasure, and now I can't wait to meet you in person.
We're gonna have so much fun.
We're gonna have so much fun.
Um,
Be
if
wrong.
if you're on LinkedIn and you see that we're both at an event, I challenge you to have the best time of your life and come to.
And
Uh,
come find us and hang out with us, and we will make amazing connections for you.
for sure. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thanks again for having me, Leanne.